Trump's election lies just got a step closer to becoming an official part of the Republican platform.
McCain. Hey, I passed McCain. Look at I passed McCain right here. You're a rhino. You're a globalist. You're a globalist rhino.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and don't let anybody try to convince you that the Republican Party is anything more than a gang of insane, ignorant, raving, anti-American lunatics. Because as a matter of fact, the Texas Republican Party just revised its platform to adopt the wholesome conservative values of fascism and seeking to secede from the Union.
Let's just start with some of what is in the Republican platform that was approved this weekend. Quick note, all this stuff has to be formalized later, but we expect that it will be. Okay, first of all, it approved a measure that Biden was not legitimately elected. This is, I'm going to write this because it's important. Not true. My mom is going to yell at me for my poor penmanship, but that says not true. They rebuke the 10 GOP senators who have backed the bipartisan gun reform bill, obviously still talking about what the text will look like, what they'll do, but that includes, right here, that includes John Cornyn of Texas. I'm going to get back to him. And they declared homosexuality an abnormal lifestyle choice.
Yes, this is the modern Republican Party, and it's not illusion or innuendo. It's their written resolution, the foundation of their efforts. A party's platform sets the identity of what all its members accept as core principles of their movement. And while this passed in Texas, make no mistake, every Republican voter that backs this treasonous trash that pollutes our public offices is one and the same. They are all corrupt to the core.
It also rebukes Republican Senator John Cornyn and his bipartisan efforts on gun legislation, and it calls for the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to be repealed. It goes on to agree to, quote, oppose all efforts to validate transgender identity, and calls homosexuality a, quote, abnormal life choice, close quote. On top of that, it supports demolishing the Department of Education and promotes teaching students about what it calls humanity of the preborn.
Trump was the first American, and believe me, I'm using that term only in the sense of basic citizenship, to make treason a political movement, but all of his butt-kissing minions have followed suit. Just think, a political party with a written agenda to disregard elections and pursue secession from the Union. When will these feeble-minded pawns wake up?
Is there a chance this Texas platform could become the national GOP stance anytime soon?
Well, Tanya, we have seen this view, this false view, questioning the 2020 election, really seeping into wide swaths of the Republican Party. We've watched over the past couple of months and seen that candidates running for federal, state, and local offices talking about these false claims about the election, actually getting elected or getting nominated, I should say, for the party in positions that could potentially have them in places where they are overseeing elections in some cases.
These savage imbeciles dream of a civil war, but the war they are currently losing is the battle for their minds and their souls. It now looks like Lindsey Graham made the understatement of a generation when he said Trump would destroy the Republican Party. I guess from his own years of pulling the wool over right-wing idiots' eyes, he caught a glimpse of just how helpless the Republican voter base is in terms of intellectual defenses. The dumbest con man in history has his flock of sheep eating out of his hand and at the very mercy of his every whim. These fools simply laid down in surrender and now are the equivalent of programmed drones targeting the destruction of their own country, the United States. The greatest power civilization has ever known is a threat from within due to the utter stupidity, insanity, and gullibility of witless saps and the evil politicians who own them. And unless we all start doing our part to make a change in this society, the downward spiral of the right is going to keep dredging onward into further insanity and ultimately more violence. Kinzinger alluded to this over the weekend, and Kinzinger himself is proof of this whole malady. One of the most precious few Republicans who actually has a backbone and will objectively put country over party is persecuted like Frankenstein's monster by these GQP wackos. I wish I was joking when I talk about the Republican base. Once we thought far-right imbecile theories were limited strictly to the lunatic fringe, the drooling savages who are so hostile and ignorant they cannot function in society. But the truth is, every person who backs the Republican Party in today's day and age is complicit in treason. Facts have revealed that there is no moronic lie that they will not buy outright from the politicians who own them. These people are wound up like toys by their masters and walk blindly into their own destruction. That's the truth in the age we are living in. We have a sea of misguided, hostile imbeciles in this nation, and it's pretty easy to identify who they are. If you're casting a vote in the Republican column this year, you are betraying your country and destroying your own democracy, and you don't have to take my word for it. Look at your own party's platform. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.